So welcome back. Last time we did our singleton entity arrays. So now we only have one instance of this entity array, so nobody can create another one. Today we're going to do player. We're going to actually do the player, and this is going to be the logical player. The logical player is the one that contains all the information about the player, such as if they're alive, dead, what sort of states they're in. So in RPG states, it would be like, what kind of magic spells do they have, or what's their attack power, or stuff like that. Mario's terms, it'd be like, what power does he have the flower power on, or the raccoon tail on? So it's the logical player. It's not an actual animation player. So we're going to create that. So let us do that by going right-clicking on Windows Games, add new class, and it is going to be called player entity. Just have to check to make sure I made entity correct. It is going to be public. It's not to be a namespace Windows Game 3. It's going to be entities.character. Where's character in there? What do we call this one? Yeah, entities.characters. And now I lost the player entity. There it is. And our player entity is going to derive from, close that, character entity. So here's our character entity. We're now going to derive from that, which is going to derive from game entity, which is going to derive from game base entity, blah, 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 all the way down. So we're going to make that derive from character entity. And character entity we're going to change because we don't want an instance of character entity to exist. We'll make it abstract. And there's a method here, abstract. I want to create this to make this abstract. So we'll delete all this. So now anybody that extends from change virtual to abstract. So there we go. Now that we don't want just a generic character to have generic attack power. We want them to set it. I mean, having a generic virtual, like, you can override this calculate damage to put your own in, which we'll do with the virtual keyword. But abstract, we don't really want a lame ass attack that does 50 points every time like we had before. We want the people who have a character entity to actually write up their own attack function. So we're going to make it abstract and take away the body. So basically what we're saying is anybody that derives from character entity, you are required to make this function to determine your attack power. So if we run this now, we're going to get a few errors. And our first error is this. Does not implement abstract member entity characters character entity dot attack. So that's our first thing we have to do, is we have to implement this function. So public override. We're going to want to override the attack. Throw. For now, return. We're going to say 4 for right now. I'm going to change that soon. That's just to get it running, because if we still run this, we still have a bit of a problem. We cannot create instance of abstract class or interface entity characters as character entity. Mario is a character entity, if you remember up here. If we look up here, there we go. He's not a character entity. We can't have an instance of a character entity. So that's wrong there. So we'll delete that for now. We'll leave it like that, and we'll come back to it in a sec. But what we're going to do is we're going to fulfill our player entity a bit here. So let's shrink that. So the first thing is our fields. We're not going to have too many fields just yet. We're going to just have a generic character, and the first thing your character needs is some sort of attack power. So we'll have int attack that will actually that's going to determine the damage. You can call it attack damage, whatever you want to call it. You're also probably going to have a score. Not necessarily all will have scores, it's dependent. I'll put in a score anyways, because score will come into effect later. Next we need the properties, so public int attack get attack. No, I don't want. Yes, go away. I want that to show up. And sorry, we're not doing that. Return attack and set attack to equal value. So now we have our getters, so anything outside of this class can access our attack. I'm not going to write a score right now because I'm not going to need it. But we do need, well, I'll show you in a sec. We'll go to game here. And then what we're going to do is we have a Mario who is a game entity. If player entity extends from character entity, and character entity extends from game entity. So a player is a game entity. So we're gonna have Mario. We're gonna create a new, no, not parallel, player entity. Do I have to? No, I have it there. So that works, right? Let's run that. No, we got an issue. What's our issue? Nah, the function called attack. I'll call it attack damage. There we go. No. Copy, paste, paste. Now run. That's going to happen because I don't have an actual. This is actually not quite set up yet because we have a player entity, but what's wrong with our player entity is we don't have a constructor made yet. So we have to do that. We have to create our own constructor. So we'll create another one, public player entity. And let's take a look at character entity. What does it have? It has a few constructors, but the one I'm going to base mine off purely for right now, I'll make more later, is this one here. Pass in a name and health. Also, I changed all the health and all that to ints. So we go back down to here. So we're going to want to pass in a string name, which will be the name of our player, and int health. And we're going to pass it off to the base to handle this information. And health. Our constructor is going to say, why are you complaining? Oh, because I still got the debugging on, sorry. So it's going to pass off the work to character entity to set up the name and all the information, but we do want to take attack, damage, and we're going to set that to constant 4 right now. And for right now, our attack's just going to be attack, damage. We're going to return that. So we're going to turn 4 every time they attack. Alright. So there we go. That's the information we have. So that's our player entity for right now. That's good enough, right? That's pretty good. So let's go create it. First, let's pass in a name. We're going to pass in the name Mario. And we're going to give him a health of 100. Now I've already imported my PNG of Mario. And we're going to want to set Mario's asset name. dot asset name equals Mario. And we're going to set Mario's position equals new vector2. We're going to get the graphics device dot viewport. Let me device viewport. I'll put this on a new line. Dot width divided by, actually we'll say multiplied by 0.1, and then graphics device dot viewport dot height multiplied by 0.1. So what this is going to do is this is going to take F. Stupid F's if you don't do what it thinks it's a double. So what this is going to do is it's going to take the viewport, which is all this, and multiply it by 0.1, which if you know your math will actually shrink it down to over here. So that's where Mario will appear. And we're going to add Mario. Oops, sorry. We're going to take entity manager dot instance dot add. Sorry. Mario. There we go. So let's load that up and see what we get. And we get a sprite. Oh, because I don't want any of this information here. Let's, because we don't have a Mario 3. I don't want to set all that. Oh, stop it there. Okay, run that again. So there's our Mario flying in the sky. But we need Mario to attack someone. So let's set that up, shall we? Who's Mario going to attack? Well, Mario's going to attack game entity Luigi. Alright, we're going to get his brother in on this. Player entity. We're going to call him Luigi. Luigi. He's going to have a health of 100. Just like Mario. So we can pretty much copy paste all. Actually, no. There's going to be slight differences. Luigi dot asset name equals Luigi. And I have my Luigi. Yeah, I'm going to keep saying that. I have my Luigi image imported into the content folder down here. As you can see, he's right here. See, content imported. So it's going to pick that one. I'm going to copy this because this will almost be virtually the same. I'm going to copy that. The only difference is I'm going to actually make this, take off insert, 8. So he's 80% of the width. No, sorry, 80% of the width, but I still want him at 1% of the height. We're going to add him to the entity manager. So entity manager, get the single only available instance of that entity manager. Call the entity manager function, and we're going to pass in Luigi. Why is Luigi not? Oh. There we go. I forgot of you. Zoomed in a bit there too much. There we go. Zoom a little bit. Player entity. Oh, whoops. I forgot the new. There we go. Oh. Oh, I did a little mistake. There we goes. So Leaguey is a bit too far apart, so let's say about 6% of the screen width is where we want to paste them. There we go. I want to move them down a bit, so I'll say 2, 2, and yeah, that's about right, right? That's pretty good. So Leaguey's gonna have a battle with his brother here. So that's our player entities, player entities. So we got everything here, but we got some damage and stuff like that we want to calculate. So let us do some calculations. Well, first we have to be able to print stuff to a screen, you have to add new content, and we're going to add a sprite font, and we're just going to leave it as sprite font 1. Blah, 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 all that information. And we're going to go down, we're going to go up, and we are going to create a variable called sprite font. I'm going to call it font in our game 1 class. Then we are going to load lays font. We're going to say font equals content dot load. Now in this case, we don't want to load a texture 2D like we were doing before. We want to load a sprite font. So we get a sprite font and the title, which is sprite font 1, I believe. So that's loaded. Next thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to draw it to the screen. So right here, just after in our draw function here, just after all the entities have loaded, we want to display our HUD. This is going to be sort of a makeshift HUD. So we're going to want to do a sprite batch dot draw string. We're going to pass it our font, the text, which for right now for displaying purposes, stop beeping at me, you son of a. Displaying purpose is going to be hello world. And position, new vector 2, which I will put on a new line so you can see everything. We'll say 100 by 100. Then the final one is a color, which we're going to just make dot white. So now we will display our text, which should say hello world above. Oh, just above Mario there. Not very easy to see. So he's a bit too low, so let's make it 50. You'd want to actually do calculations using like the window width and height and stuff like that, but I don't feel like doing that much. So that's our string. That's how we create a string. So let's make a little makeshift hub. So what kind of string do we want to display? Well, we want to display Mario, right? So let's display. Let's see, how will we do this? I'm going to do a little cheating sort of way. We're going to do game entity Mario. I'm going to put them up here. Mario and game entity Luigi. Then that way we can delete these. So now we always have an instance of these, so I would have to do all that work of pulling the game entity out of the entity manager and all that, but I don't want to do that for this simple little test. So what do we want to display in our string? HUD, we'll call it string HUD, and we're going to want to display Mario dot name, and then we're gonna want to display his health, and put a space in the front here. Then we're gonna want to display their attack. There we go. Plus Mario dot attack. Oh, we have to cast Mario. Oh no, wait, we need Mario's health. Well, we could do the casting thing because these are just game entities, but I want to make them player entities. This will avoid casting. That will save me all the trouble of casting it to player entities and stuff like that. So we want Mario.health plus, we want to append is what the plus means in a string, the attack information, which will be Mario.attack damage. And then we're gonna pass in HUD. So let's run that. What do we get? There's Mario, there's his health, there's his attack power. Pretty cool, huh? Let's change their names, put a capital in, make it a little more professional. Luigi and Mario. There we go. So how do we display Luigi's name? Pretty much copy and paste. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy this. Copy. Paste it in there. Take out the string HUD. We want to change Luigi. Luigi. And then we're going to display it and we'll have Luigi's information. Oh, fortunately Luigi's information position has to change slightly. So let's change this to say, that's the height. Let's change this to say 400. And a little more. Say 450. They'd want to use math to actually display these health bars. But there's our two characters. They're both sitting there and they're doing their little thing where they do. So let's close that. So there's all our information. We don't need anything else. You would have your update for your players to do specific things. We would have to override update, but I don't want to do that in this episode. We'll just, we're going to create a few things in our game. We're going to go back to the top and let's create some booleans. Bool is Mario's turn. And bool is Luigi's turn. I have an E in there. And we're going to set these to equal. Mario's going to go first, so this will be true. This will be false. Alright, so there's our information. Let's go down to here to our update in our main game. Update right here. We're going to update all the characters' information, but first what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to check to see if is Mario's turn, we're going to want we're going to need, I'm going to have to change a little, we're going to add the int attack value 0. So what Mario's going to do is, first off, we're going to check, we're going to get the keyboard state and call it key state equals keyboard dot get state. So that will get currently what keys are pressed. If key state is key down, if the key that is down is keys dot space. So if somebody presses the space bar, that's when we're going to want to do our attack. I don't know why it switches to French Canadian. Who would ever use that? Oh. Delete that. Do some indentation here, and then we will do some spacing here. So if it's Mario's turn, we're going to want to do attack value equals Mario dot attack damage, and then we're going to pass it off into Luigi's dot calculate damage attack value. And then what we're going to want to do else, if it's not Luigi's turn, or sorry, if it's not Mario's turn, we're going to check is Luigi's turn. We're going to want to do the same thing except reverse. So we'll copy paste that. Luigi. Mario. So now Mario will take the damage. And for our attack, we actually want to display the last attack value. So let's run that. So it's always going to be 4. But unfortunately, every time we attack, it's always going to be Mario because we're not switching it up here, right? So in our update, after it's been Mario's turn, Mario's turn is now going to be false because he's done doing his turn. And Luigi's turn is going to equal true. So now we're swapping the two. So once Mario has his turn, he's done. So now it's no longer his turn. It is now Luigi's turn. So we'll copy and paste. Actually, we'll type that out. Is Luigi's turn equals false. So now we're going to do the opposite. So if it is Luigi's turn, we're going to want to now make it Mario's turn. So Mario's turn is going to be true. So yes, it is currently now Mario's turn in the second one. Boom, boom, boom. Oh god, they're completely dead and they'll go on forever. But their attack power is always going to be 4. Nothing's ever going to change. Because we returned it as that. Alright, so let's go back into player entity. I don't want my attack damage to... I don't want my... my attack to constantly be returning 4. I want it to return the attack damage of 4 plus something random. So how do we do random? We use the keyword new random. Random is an object that will choose a random jump number, but you have to do certain conditions for it. Random, I believe, chooses any number between 1 and 255, or the size of an int. I'm not sure. It's not really important. But how we want to do it is we want to do it like this. You don't have to do it. You can make up your own calculations for how much damage you can do. But this is the calculation I'm going to do. I'm going to create a new random and then say, call the function next, which gets us a next random non-negative number. But I want to pass it a value. And my value is going to be the attack damage. So basically what this means is I'm going to do 4, which is my attack damage, plus any number between 0 and 3. So it can be any number. So when my attack damage returns, it can be anywhere between 4 and 7, kind of giving a bit of a randomness. So let's check that out. And that's not working. So let's see what's wrong with this. It doesn't seem to be actually. Oh, because it's returning really quickly because like the amount that I press the space bar, it's really screwed up. But we seem to be returning attack damage, attack value is 4 every time still. Oh, because I'm returning the damage. Okay, what I want to do is I actually want to call attack, the function attack, not attack damage. That's really silly and stupid of me. That's a bug. That's an oversight bug. The bug that's not really logical, just incompetency of the programmer. Oh, there we go. See? Notice that the attack is returning anywhere between 4 and 7 every time. So now we have an attack that will return that. So that's pretty cool, right? So now we have a random attack damage. The only problem is the player's still alive, right? So we don't want them to be alive anymore. We don't want to display the character on the screen once they're dead. So how do we do that? Well, we override the draw function. So public override. We're going to want to override draw. Damn it, let's undo all that. First, let's import all the X and A bullcrap. Copy, player entity, override all this stuff. Public override drawer. What we're going to do if the player is not, the exclamation mark before in an if statement means not, so it negates the value, is dead. So if they are not dead, draw them. So remember, before is dead, we'll check to see if their health is below 0. So whichever character will go. Oh, they both went. So now they're no longer being drawn because they're below 0. And so that's good. So we got that part. And let's see, what else could we do here? After a player is dead, so what we want to do is space key down and Mario is not dead, or Luigi not Luigi is dead. Okay, I have one too many brackets. So now what's going to happen is, if you're pressing the keyboard and neither character is dead, we will actually do the attack and all that. But they both die at the same time. But notice I can't go any lower, right? Because they're both dead. So I can't keep pressing the spacebar like I used to and just go into the negative numbers really, really far. So, oh, we want an else. That's what's wrong. See, there's another bug on it. You want an else because the way I had it before with the if statement, it's going to come here, and now it's going to be Luigi's turn. So yeah, it's going to check this second statement, and it's going to be true. So each time I attack once, other person's going to go as well. But if we put the else there, it's going to check, is it Mario's turns first? Yes. Then set his thing to false, and then don't do this one. But it's going to come in the second time around, so now Mario's going to be false. So say, is Mario false? Yes, it is. Else, is Luigi true? Yes, it is. And then do this. And so that's why they were losing the information at the same time. Now you'll notice that their health is... Well, they both died at the same time still because of that. You got to press the spacebar really, really quickly. But you got to remember, these things are happening. It's checking this stuff at like... There, Luigi died first. It's checking this stuff at like 1/10 of a second every time. So there we go. Luigi's now dead. Mario's now dead. So we got a little wrong with our if statement here because I shouldn't still be able to do that. So if the spacebar, so the spacebar is being pressed. That's true. And is Luigi dead? Not dead? Is Mario not dead? That's true, but Luigi is dead. That's false. This should really be an and, I believe. This is something that can screw you up, is the logic between and or. There we go. It was an and. Perfect. So now we can't go anymore, and Luigi is our winner. Pretty cool, huh? So that's pretty neat. But say we don't want... we have our attack randomized, but say necessarily we don't want the character to take... If you look back in character entity, the character is going to be taking the damage. The default damage is... Calculate damage is whatever damage is passed in. So when we pass in damage of the random number of attack value into here, it's just going to straight out take that number from the health. But say we don't want to do that. Say we want their defense to be as random as well. So we're going to calculate. We're going to want to override calculate damage. So now this goes in the base class, but we don't want the base class to actually do that. We want to work. What we want to do is we want to remove this, and we want to set health minus equals damage. But damage is going to reduce by let's see, new, so we're going to do random again, random dot next, call the function next and pass in damage. So right now what's going to happen, if we get a 4, damage of 4, we're going to minus any number between 0 and 3. So we could do maximum damage, which is 4, or damage of, maximum damage, minimum damage of at least 4, or maximum damage of at least 4, or minimum damage of 1, because next number will go up to the number of damage. If damage is 4, next goes anywhere between 0 and 3. But we don't just want to do that, that's a little lame, so we'll divide it by 2. So if damage comes in here and it's 4, we're going to get a number between 0 and 3 and divide by that. by 2. So say it's 2, it's going to be 1. So we're going to get a damage of 3. So it's like we have a bit of a defense, if you will. So it's kind of hard to attack, see who did what there, because it goes so quickly. But as you can see, damage, it took a little longer to get down as opposed to before where he was just dropping like crazy. So now our characters have a bit of a health. If we did a plus, you'll notice they'll die a lot quicker. No, it's kind of hard. It really is hard to tell. Alright, so now we have a damage. So we have a proper, this is sort of like an RPG style thing. This is what you'll see a lot if you look up information about Final Fantasy or Dragon Quest. They often do have calculations similar to this. A bit more complex in the math and stuff like that, but this is just basic formation. So that's the basic bits of a battle. One takes another turn, and then you just got to figure out whose turn is what. So let's make... I don't want to make Luigi's thing. I want to actually... Let's delete that. Let's delete that. Now it's going to be Luigi's turn after automatically. So even if I press space, you really can't tell it. It's kind of hard to tell. It really is hard to kind of tell. So I'll leave it the way it is. There we go. So that's pretty neat. But say we want to tell who's the attacker and who's the defender. So let's do a little color manipulation here. So is Mario's turn. We'll do that fancy little question mark. If it's Mario's turn, we'll have the color dot red. So if Mario is attacking, we'll have the text be colored red. Otherwise, actually no, sorry. The attacker will be green. Yes. Red. And we'll just copy and paste this over this color. So now, if it is Luigi's turn, the text will go the other way. Like I said, you're still not going to see it, but see, notice our text has changed. Really hard to see. Yeah, so you notice that it's flashing really quickly. That's because it's like updating every time. It's not really a great turn-based system which I created here. It's just kind of a quick one. Now we want to do attack value. Similar is Mario's turn. Why do I keep turn? It's Mario's turn. Put the attack value that was calculated. It's going to come in here after Mario's turn. This isn't going to work out so well because I have to actually set my thing here. I have to put the like that. Okay, that seemed to work. I actually tried this earlier to test it. It's slightly different how I did it before. So let's try that again. So you notice depending on whose turn it is, they're the one attacking, right? So that gives the attack power, otherwise the person who is but it's not set up right, because I'd have to actually change. Let's take these out. So after we've checked those, right in our draw, after we've finished drawing everything, we want to... Is it currently Mario's turn? If it is, set is Mario's turn equals false. Is Luigi's turn to true? Else if is Luigi's turn set to false? Is Mario's turn set to true? So this should be a little more apropos. It really is hard. Nah, it doesn't work. Well, I screwed up somewhere. But anyways, you get the gist of it. I'd have to think out the logic a little more. But I mean, I got the most part. The rest of it's just messing around with the way it looks and stuff like that. But the randomness of the attack and the damage is there. It's just hard to tell. So you notice that it flips back and forth really, really quickly. So there's the basic battle. There's our player class. They can take damage, draw, stop drawing when they're dead, and calculate damage. Also, when you're dead, I would think you'd want to call a deconstructor and then stop using the entity and you want to remove it. Stuff like that once they're out of play. But that's for another day. So there's our information. We're going to have one last battle and see who wins it. Come on, Luigi. Oh no, wait, I know something else I should do. I should have done Mario on that one, but we can't have a true battle just yet, because, you know, Luigi's kind of at a disadvantage because he's facing the wrong way. So let us have Luigi face the proper way, shall we? Luigi.sprite. Oh, it's called flip equals sprite effect. Oops. Sprite effects dot vertical flip. Wrong flip. It's horizontal flip. I never remember which one. Horizontal flip. There we go. Now they're facing each other. Time for a true battle to begin. So who will win? Oh, Luigi wins. Also, you'll notice Luigi, I couldn't find a raccoon tail of Luigi, so I had to make one myself using the Mario sprite. It's kind of hard getting the mustache in, but anyways. So folks, that's our player class, and hopefully that's been interesting. Any questions, or if you want to send me any new sprites to do anything else, let me know. Send them to me. Thank you for watching, and have a good day. Bye now.